Welcome to Harmonium LA, the podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Heedy Gandolfi, emotional wellness expert, founder of Harmonium LA, and published author. The world needs healing now more than ever. My goal is to bring you inspiring conversations, tips, and techniques that will help you build a sustainable healing toolkit. The Harmonium LA podcast is the only resource you will need to slow down, stop searching, and start healing. Elle, thank you so much for joining us. I'm absolutely thrilled that you are here joining us all the way from Florida. Really excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
It's going to be a really fascinating conversation, I think, because, so many people, I was saying in the intro, so many people hear this term twin flame, but they're not really sure quite exactly what that means or how that might play up or show up in their lives. And if it does, how to even navigate through that. So I'm really excited to dive deeply into that and just to really explain and just to clear up a lot of maybe misconceptions, preconceptions that people might have about exactly what a twin flame is.
Sure, that sounds perfect.
Going to be amazing. So obviously your journey didn't start with being a twin flame coach or alchemist or writer. I mean, you started as a lawyer. So why don't you just talk to us about how you transitioned from that corporate world into this really spiritual and divine way of working?
Yeah. So first of all, you don't choose to go on a twin flame journey. The twin flame journey finds you. It happens when your soul is ready. And so how I got from being a lawyer to doing this was I experienced my own twin flame journey. It just happened. It came out of nowhere suddenly, which is how it does. It really threw me for a loop. It feels like the rug is pulled out from underneath you when you go on this journey, because at first usually the catalyst is some kind of physical relationship with, you think, just some other person that you have this really intense connection with. But then, all of a sudden and we can describe what the energies are maybe further on, but because it's an energetic thing that happens, and all of a sudden they seem to just ghost you or block you or leave you. And this is right after you feel like you've had this amazing connection, and they see they felt it too. So it's just all of a sudden there's someone in there and then they're gone. Mm-hmm. And you don't know why, you don't know how. It's usually without any explanation. And, it just really feels like your whole world is turned upside down from that way. But then also what happens is that you tend to become obsessed, fixated on this person and why they left. You can't seem to get over them, right? Or move on. With, other relationships, you pretty much can. So, you become fixated on them and a lot of obsessive thoughts, and you get, your mind just can't stop thinking about them. And for me, I'm not usually like that in other relationships. I've never been like that before. And so it really felt like the scary part was I didn't even recognize who I was anymore. Why couldn't I had just gotten out before my twin flame journey, just to preface it with this, I had just gotten out of a marriage from which I had two young kids at the time. And it was a very contentious 2-year divorce. It was, I had initiated it, and, I was finally feeling the freedom from that, so to speak. And, suddenly, I meet my twin flame, and, I'm obsessed. And, when I was physically with my twin flame at first, that connection, it was very quick and intense. We were only together for 6 weeks. Wow. And all of a sudden, he leaves, and I'm like, I don't know why I just couldn't get over him. I had gotten over many people, including my marriage, no problem. And then with him, I was just fixated. And I didn't recognize myself anymore. And, that obsession really, threw me for a loop. So, and plus the pain, there was a lot of pain. I experienced pain in my sacral chakra. That's called core wound pain. And, that's very common to experience pain either in your heart, solar plexus, or sacral chakra when you're experiencing a twin flame journey. And so it felt like, someone had reached inside of me there and like literally like disemboweled me from there, like pulled my soul out of there. It was like this empty, it felt like a gaping hole. It was awful. And so because of that and the obsessive thoughts, I couldn't function. I was on the floor in a puddle basically for like 6 months. I tried to get help from 13 different spiritual advisors, psychics, a therapist, voodoo mambo, you name it. And finally, the 13th one, I was calling into a call-in psychic line. And this was 6 months into my throes of despair. And she mentioned twin flames. Now, this was 8 years ago. So, twin flames wasn't nearly anywhere near as mainstream as it is now, even in spiritual circles. So no one else had mentioned it to me before that. None of the psychics, none of the spiritual advisors, anything. And that's the first time I'd heard of it. And so, made me wonder what's twin flames. And so I Googled it and, I found this. What came up was this lady in Australia who, could coach people and help them through that. And so right away, that night I sent payment to her through PayPal. I got on a call with her right away. And she ended up being my teacher. She saved my life. Within 2 weeks, she had me, I was feeling like a normal functioning human being again. I was off the floor. I could be a mom to my 2 kids. And I was no longer, obsessing and just feeling the core wound pain or anything like that anymore. And then within 3 months, I had magnetized this person back, my twin flame, back into my physical,
the same person.
life. Yes, the twin flame, yes, back into my physical life. And, it was great. And I was feeling amazing, better than I've ever felt. Other areas of my life were shifting and just improving in all areas. And then even though I was kind of good there, something just innately propelled me to still work with her. And I worked with her every single day for 2 years. And, just to learn more about like the spiritual ascension process, because that's really, what the twin flame journey is, an introduction to that or a step along your ascension path. And so I worked with her every day about learning about that. And then she suddenly passed on. And then when that happened, I realized the world, anyone else experiencing the twin flame journey was really, going to miss out. She saved my life. And I knew there had to be other people out there experiencing the same thing. And so at that point, I waited a year because her website was still up for a whole year until after she passed. And then it came down. So her teachings were no longer available. Then at that point, I decided to write a book. And I wrote my first book, Twin Flames Exposed. And I self-published it onto Amazon. And from that, people just found me and asked me to help them, to coach them, to teach them. And that's what happened. And it just, they say, you don't find your purpose finds you. And that's exactly what happened. And I just knew like, these people needed me, more than any of my legal clients ever needed.
So you were still working as a lawyer while this all was happening and while you had this this pain and this breakdown, you were still working in the legal field. And then that was enough. Enough was enough. And you had to, like on your 13th hit, you found this amazing woman that helped express to you and explain to you what the heck was going on. And I'm sure a lot of people can probably relate to this, but not even have a clue that this is something that exists and to this degree, right? Because what's the difference? So if somebody's thinking, oh yeah, I've met my soulmate or I've met my twin flame. Is there a difference? Because we hear this word twin flame, but we also hear this word soulmate where you think you've met the one. So is that the same or is it different? And where the twin flame, you meet them, you have this connection and then they might just ghost you and disappear from your life and leave you with your heart, like you say, wrenched out. Is that the same experience that you would have with the soulmate? And if so, if it's not, how do you know the difference between the two? Is there a difference?
Yeah, that's very great questions. That's multi-layered, faceted question. So first of all, what the twin flame is the twin flame is your soul incarnated into 2 separate physical bodies. And why that happens, and it's really the divine truth of how we're all created. So our soul is normally in 5D, right? That's the energetic paradigm level that it comes from, which we all come from. And then, so in 3D though, in order to assimilate here in 3D in all of our incarnations through our physical lifetimes, our soul's energy. So it has to assimilate to the energetic paradigm of the 3rd dimension. And that energetic paradigm of the 3rd dimension is one of duality and opposites. We have up and down, hot and cold, in and out, good and bad, light and dark. everything has an opposite here, which is fine and perfect. That's why we incarnate here, actually, is to learn about things, because how do you learn about something without knowing what it's not?
Yeah.
You don't know if something's up if you don't have it to compare anything to that's down.
Yeah.
Right? It just is. And so that's why we actually incarnate here, is to learn about things. And so our soul, though, has to make two opposites of itself. And in energetic terms, opposites are polarity. And so it puts one of those polarities into your physical body and one into the physical body of your twin flame. Now, everyone has crossed paths with their twin flame in every single lifetime. But just there's going to come a point in time when your soul it recognizes itself energetically, subconsciously. It's not like a recognition that you consciously know or feel. There's myths out there that that's what it is, but that's not what it is. It's not like that. It happens subconsciously on the level of the soul. And what that does is it activates the polarized energies within both twin flames. And so at first, it causes those energies to be drawn together like magnets. Right. And that builds up and it feels intense. And that's why the connection between twin flames feels so intense. Mm-hmm. It just is this build up, like a crescendo, but all of a sudden it reaches what I call a tipping point, where then all of a sudden those energies, the polarities kick in, and then they repel. Right. And they manifest as a push-pull. And so one twin flame becomes the push energy, where that would be me. That would be the ones that generally go looking for the help, that are left there feeling, just despondent and shattered, totally confused, obsessed about the twin flame. Those are those people. And the other twin flame is the pull twin flame. So the energy is pulling them away from the push twin flame. Right. So the more the twin flame pushes and, focuses and tries to reach out to the twin flame, or, stalk them on social media or real life or whatever, which is very common because of the obsessive thoughts that we have on them, this fixation on them. And that's the energy controlling the mind. So that's very common. That is what happens. But as more you do that, that's the energy pushing out towards the other twin flame, who is then pulling away in tandem. Right. So it's very energetic. It's all working on the energetic soul level. This is a journey of the soul. And so twin flame is your soul. Right. Now a soulmate is a mate of your soul. So doesn't share your soul. It's another soul, another being, and a soul's an energetic field, basically. So it's another energetic field that resonates with your energetic field. Right. And it's anything that's energy or a soul can do that. So for example, and it can be in all different degrees. So, a soulmate, we tend to think of it as a romantic connotation. And yes, there can be romantic soulmates, but there's also family members are soulmates, friends are soulmates. Right. Pets and animals can be soulmates. Anything with the soul that is in your physical world resonates with your soul to some degree. Even that stranger standing in front of you in line in Starbucks, they somehow, for them to be even in your physical frame of reference, they resonate with your soul in some teeny tiny way, right? Yeah. At least in that moment. So that's the difference. The twin flame is your soul.
Right. Everyone so should we be looking to find our twin flame versus our soulmate? Or is that not something, because it's so painful, or it can be so painful, it can be so damaging? Is that something that we should be doing? Or is it just something which will happen if it's supposed to?
No, you should not be doing anything. There's nothing to do. And it's not just because it's so painful. The pain is actually a good thing. It is actually a blessing. It's a wake-up call. It's an awakening to who you truly are. And that, hey, this is your soul, get to know me, get to love me, because that's what the twin flame journey is all about. But no, you shouldn't be looking for it, because here's the thing. Most people, like I said, everyone, I guess, has crossed paths of their twin flame in every lifetime. There's billions of people out there who are probably married to their twin flames, and they just don't realize it or know it. And just because they're not experiencing the twin flame journey yet, because you have yet to have soul recognition. So people could be with their twin flames, but they just don't, they haven't had yet the soul recognition to cause them to start this journey of where the energies became activated. And you can't do it. Like I said, it's not a conscious decision. It's just when your soul is ready. And you can have, people talk about the signs of the twin flame journey, and they talk about all of it leading up to, oh, you feel this instant connection, or you feel like you know each other better than anyone, or you've never had such great sex, all this other stuff. But you can have those same things with a very closely resonant soulmate. You can have those same physical feelings. That doesn't, determine if someone's your twin flame or not. The only way to know if it is your twin flame is once you have soul recognition and, you go through the painful part of
the separation part. So you connect, you meet, because people are probably listening to this and say, oh yes, well, I dated some guy and I thought that was everything. And then he just ghosted me. He disappeared, never heard from him again. And that was so painful. So was he my twin flame or not? Is it that you would only know, or is that just a case of he just wasn't that into you and he's gone to somebody else, and so that's why you're not hearing from him anymore? Like, what's the difference right there?
Well, the difference is, usually with the intensity of how, if you were ever able to move on from that, with your mind, with your heart, you don't still think about them. And like, with this intensity, it's an inner, like almost, it's a knowing almost,
right?
That something's different here. There are heartbreaks where, it's very challenging for people to move on. I get that. But I think a lot of them with people just can't, after, a fair amount of time, I think, it's fair to say, like, if, at least if you're still not able to get over someone, in the length of time that you were together, at least, or even like double that, say, you might want to think that might be, something else going on, like the twin flame journey.
So then how do you begin to heal that and move forward through this journey?
Well, it's not about healing. It's about alchemizing your fear-based energy. So there's nothing to heal, just because, you're not broken, you're not sick, you're perfect. And this journey is what this journey is meant to show you. And so it's about really just, I talked about the polarity of the energies. All polarity, all duality, all opposites, that illusion of things being not the same and separate, is fear. That is fear-based energy. The whole third dimension paradigm is a fear-based energetic paradigm. Our souls are love. Our souls know, no bounds, no limits, no resistance. They're eternal. They're the most powerful energy, and a total abundance. that's all love. And so love doesn't see anything as separate from itself. Love is all encompassing. So, but the reason why you see then that your twin flame seems to have, left you or not be with you anymore, that's looking at it from the third dimension perspective, right? We're just looking at it like the physical, what we see or experience with our physical senses. Whereas that's very limiting, because our soul is of the 5D. So, what you need to do is what the twin flame actually is, though. The twin flame is you. And why this journey even happens is the twin flame shows you yourself. Many people speak of a twin flame mirror. And I call it a reverse mirror, because that's kind of, deceiving in a way, because your twin flame, people think, oh, if my twin flame is mirroring me back to me, I should be watching what my twin flame is doing and think that, that's somehow reflective of me. But it's not that. It's not what your twin flame is doing, saying, thinking, or feeling physically. It's that your twin flame, whenever they come in, they cause your energy within you to have a reaction. And that's your fear-based energy. And that's the part of you they're showing to you, is that reaction that you have to them coming in. So whenever they come in to your physical frame of reference, you have a reaction, and it's that reaction that they are showing you within yourself. And that's the part of yourself that they show to you and reflect to you. And then, so when you see that reaction that you have, that's fear-based energy. And so it really takes just understanding, identifying it, and it comes in all sorts of sneaky ways. And actually, the further along you go through the process of advancing along this journey, and seeing that energy, and then we call it balancing it out. It's really alchemizing it. It's transmuting it. And when you do that, it transmutes into love energy. And then, eventually, the fear-based energy dissipates until it's no longer there. And then your soul can bring its two physical bodies, yours and your twin flames, together, and maintain that. And in that space, it's complete and total fearlessness. And that is total love. That is what love is. And twin flames at that point are really the only, true, unconditional, loving, physical relating experience we're able to have at this point, where the level of human consciousness is. But it's all about loving yourself and getting to know yourself. Because every time they come in, they show you that reaction of yourself, and that's your denied shadow part of yourself.
Right.
And so that's the part you're supposed to see and then accept it without judgment. And that eventually allows you to transmute it into love.
So they will keep coming and going until such time that you have really addressed everything that you're supposed to see and really truly loving yourself before they will come and stay.
Yes, that's exactly right. For the most part, I mean, that's generally how it goes. And now everyone's journey physically is unique and individual. So we've had, some people, they come and go. And then for a while, obviously they stay. But then there's people who their twin flame goes and then comes back and then they stay, and they're just able to that quickly, see, all the parts of themselves, because it takes a little bit. There's like almost like a container that, every time they come in, that you're going to have a fear-based reaction at first, until you don't anymore, but you're going to have some level of one. And then as you move along, they get more and more subtle and more sneaky. So your fear-based energy controls your mind. So it's very sneaky, and it's energy. So its natural inclination is to feed and to grow. So it wants you to keep feeding it and not alchemize or transmute it into love. It wants to be its fear and grow bigger.
Right.
Which, we're doing until we're conscious to the fact that we're doing it anyway. So, when that keeps showing up, it's up to you to see it. And then as you move along and progress along, seeing it more and more, it shrinks. And then as it shrinks, though, it becomes less, obviously, prevalent. It becomes way more subtle and sneakier. And so it gets more and more challenging, actually, the further along you go on your journey to actually identify it and, see it. And even though you can't consciously see it or identify it anymore, it's your twin flame, the pull still feels that push.
Right. So once it's activated, is there ever an experience where it's activated and there's the push pull, they come go, and then they go but don't ever come back? Does that ever happen? And would that happen if you've only just not done the work that you need to do?
Well, the operative word there is don't ever. So words like ever, never, always, we don't use those because they're very you don't know about ever, because the whole soul is eternal. So there is no ever or never, or, it's just the soul is just always is. So if you look at it like never, it's like, well, we don't know never, because first of all, we don't even know never for this lifetime. Right. Because, they might not be here right now, but in the next moment they could be. Yeah. But the soul, a lifetime to the soul even is like a blink of an eye, right? Yeah. So exactly. You are with your twin flame eternally and forever as one energetic, being. So there's really you're never not with them. Yeah. And that's the whole looking at it as the illusion of the separation that I was speaking about before, with the from the 3D perspective. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when people come to you, so they find you because they're in that place where you were, where they're just broken and shattered and just not able to see and function and move forward, and they find you at that right time. And then you do this deep work with them, and you really work with them to work on loving themselves. How do you work? How does it look? What's it look like? We have different ways that people can work with us. We have our signature Magnetize Your Twin Flame coaching program, which would be the entry level program if they want coaching and guidance by, one of our coaches and by me. And, there's online modules, there's, coaching, with one-on-one coaching and with their own personal coach, and then weekly group coaching calls that I'm currently doing, and a Facebook group. I also offer one-on-one private coaching for people who want more privacy and want to get really deeper and do it faster. And so I take one of those new students every month. And we also have, a do-it-yourself system, which is downloads and stuff. But really, what it all, how we really start, the foundation for everything is, it's all about really changing your perspective, like I said, and not approaching it from, our usual place of approaching everything and the only thing we know, which is from the 3D perspective. Right. This is part of the ascension process. Ascension means to rise up. And the rising up is you're rising up out of the fear-based energetic paradigm of the third dimension. And so that's how you must approach the twin flame journey, is from the level of the soul perspective, not from the physical 3D perspective. Yeah. And of course, no one's really used to that, because right. That's how we live, and that's how we've always lived, and that's how we survive. But that's why this journey is such a wake-up call to people, because it's the only way to get through this journey. And so that's what we really are teaching people how to do, is to really shift their perspective, and by shift, I mean, not in their mind. This is not a journey of the mind. They energetically shift into that resonance of being on the level of their soul, closer and closer. And it is a process. It's a process. But in so doing, you get to know yourself. And to know yourself is to love yourself. And that's why this journey is the ultimate journey of self-love. Because yes, the twin flame is yourself, but also, in order to advance along this journey, they're showing you the parts of yourself that you need to see, like I discussed earlier. And, you can't love yourself without knowing and understanding yourself.
That's so beautiful. And it's so true, because people realize, we have to move into this next level of spirituality and this next dimension and way of being, because the old way, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, and people are still walking around in pain and suffering and just not living their full potential in relationships, in their career, in their business, whatever it might be. And this is just so telling of where we need to move forward as a society, right? And to move to loving yourself. And with everything, love, it's the crux of everything. It heals everything. It's not something that you can explain. It's something that you feel, right? It can never be explained. It can only be felt.
Yes, exactly. I like to say that it's actually, it's not a verb. People use love as, I love him, I love her, I love this. But really, love is an energetic state of being. It's our natural state of being. It's our soul is love. It's our souls are just energy, and it's the strongest energy in the entire universe, next to source energy. Yeah. And love truly does conquer all, if you look at it, from that perspective. And yes, it's so needed, because every conflict, every argument, every, stress and anxiety, it's all a result of this fear-based energy. Yep. And, thinking that you're somehow separated from that which you believe that you desire, but you're really not. Everything you desire is your soul, because that energetic vibration of love, that is your soul, is comprised of many different frequencies and vibrations. And those include peace, happiness, abundance, purpose, your passions. They're all in there. And so that's what everyone really truly desires. We might put different pictures or labels of it, what we desire. And we think, this certain house is going to make me happy, or, this person's going to make me happy and feel whole and complete. Or, if I have more money, I'm going to feel more abundance. But we learn time and time again, that's not how it works. As within, so without. You need to shift into it within yourself. And it's all right there. It is, because that's who you are, right? That's who we all are, is our souls.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I can just feel just now, feel yourself dropping in, just listening. It's like, just get back in touch with you, get back in touch with that inner being of love. Like you say, that vibrational state of being in that love feeling. And everything shifts, everything will shift. You're so right in what you say there. It's magnetic. And, and if you don't have love for yourself, you're never going to attract that love back into your life in any situation. It's just not possible. And it's what we always say. And it's the truth. It's simple, but it's true.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And it's totally true. And you can't love anything or anyone else until you do love yourself. right? Because loving yourself, it dissipates the fear, and fear and love cannot coexist.
This is true. Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
mutually exclusive.
We're so in our mind, and that's where the fear lives, right? Because it's all in the mind. And so we have to get out of the mind into our heart space and get into that vibration of love. And, you know, to have this twin flame journey is, like you say, this journey of learning to love yourself and be in this state of love. And so that will then elevate you and your vibration and your way of being to where it needs to be. And you're living proof of that. When you look at where you were to where you are now, it's just amazing.
Yes. But it's a never ending journey as well. Not just the twin flame part, but the whole loving, alchemizing your fear, because it's not just regarding ourselves that we have it. It's regarding other people and other things and situations,
So what tips would you give? So to the audience, people that are listening and they're like, oh, I think I might be in this twin flame, or I think what tips would you give them to have to deal or move forward?
Well, first of all, I would say, and this is very, very challenging and difficult, but, because again, it's the fear-based energy controls the mind, and everyone out there just the mind thinks if it consumes as much information about everything as possible, it feels more in control. Of course, it's a false sense of control. Your soul is actually orchestrating everything in your life through resonance. But, the soul the mind likes to think that it's in control all the time. And so everyone just absorbs as much information as possible about the twin flame journey. And there's so much conflicting information out there, so much just myths and misconceptions. And, it really does just add to the confusion and the chaos, and you're already confused. And, I would suggest, if you think you're on, don't try to just, watch every single thing or go to readers or anything like that. That's not going to help you. That just feeds the fear-based energy that you want to stop feeding in order to stop pushing out and have your twin flame pull away from you. And then just know that, there are people out there to help you, and that, getting out of your mind, like you had mentioned, is key. It's very key, because we call it getting out of your mind, which is being present, which is very challenging to do when you're in the throes of the twin flame journey, I might add. But you can find more ways to just be present and center yourself. That's really helpful as well. But I don't mean centering yourself by sending energy out to your twin flame and meditating and focusing on your twin flame and, trying to draw them back to you. That's still pushing your energy out towards your twin flame.
And I'm just listening as you're saying all this, but I'm thinking, actually, what would be the top? Are there 3 main signs that you would know if you were in this twin flame? I don't even know if we touched on that. Like, how would you even know? What would be the top 3 clues?
Yes, it would be, I have different ones than everybody else out there, but I mean, this is big after, the energies repel. So, yes, I would say it would be, first of all, the obsessive thoughts that you just can't stop thinking about them. It's just obsessive and just grows. And it rarely, we have people come to us 20 years later who, they didn't realize, obviously 20 years ago, that's what this was. And like, they're just finding they still are thinking about this person, obviously we can have thoughts of people we knew whenever, but, just in a very persistent type of fashion. So that would be the first one, obsessive thoughts. Secondly, I would say would be the core wound pain. And by pain, so mine was the worst my teacher had ever seen. And mine's still the worst of any of students that I've ever worked with. Of all the hundreds and thousands of people we've helped, mine's the worst that I've ever come across. I don't know why, but it was. But there's some kind of pain. And by pain, it could be anything from a clenching or a fluttering all the way to, like I said, that disemboweled feeling like, your soul's been ripped from your body in that space. And usually it's in either the heart, solar plexus, or sacral chakra. Mine was in my sacral chakra. We have probably the half of our students, it's in their heart chakra.
Right.
But it could be in any of those 3 chakras. I've actually also worked with some students who it was in their throat chakra. So, and their third eye chakra. So, there's been, it can be any, there's no like one size fits all. Everyone's unique individual in how it's experienced physically. But those are the most common ones, is the heart, solar plexus, and sacral chakra. And again, it could be anything from a tightening, a fluttering, to all the way to like, complete despair, disembowelment, and anything where in between, like a spectrum.
And this is persistent. This is like on a regular basis. It's not just something that comes and goes. It's like a constant.
Yeah, but pretty much, yes. For me, it was. I think, yes, especially when, because it's as persistent, I would say, as the thoughts are. Because it's very much tied to your thoughts. Like you have the persistent obsessive thoughts, and then the thoughts are the fear-based energy, but then the core wound is also where the fear-based energy is seated within your body. And where, remember when you have this obsessive thoughts, it's pushing out towards your twin flame. Well, the core wound is where it pushes out through your body.
Right.
So you feel it to there. So it's very much tied to the obsessive thoughts and stuff like that. So that would be the second one. The third sign is doubt. Hands down, doubt that this could be your twin flame, that this could be happening to you, that why would this be happening to me? Like,
right.
I mean, this doesn't make any sense. Doubt, like, how could this person be my twin flame if they're moved in with somebody else, or they moved on with somebody else, or they're not even thinking about me or anything? Like, there's always doubt. And doubt, of course, is uncertainty, which is, of course, fear. So, the doubt follows you. It'll follow you all the way till the end, even when you're still interacting with your twin flame afterwards. We work with people, and, everyone who finishes our program magnetizes their twin flames back into their physical lives, provided the twin flame's still here on Earth. And, every single person, even as they're interacting after that, all the way until they bounce out basically almost all of their fear-based energy regarding their twin flame and twin flame journey. There's still that little doubt always. Yeah. It stays with you to the end of it. It's always in proportion to how much fear-based energy there still is.
But it just becomes more manageable, right? I'm guessing.
It feels more manageable, yes. But remember, it's still pushing out, energetically, even though it's becoming more subtle because you've done such a great job of alchemizing it so far. So it shrinks down, but it's, and it's still going to be there. It's still, so you'll get to a point where, so we call the fear-based energy, like my teacher did. I stole this from her. The push energy, the lion energy, because it kind of just like pushes out, right? She called it that. That's what we call it. So, it starts out as this roaring lion, and it's so big, and it's just like you're in it. You're consumed. You are that lion energy, pretty much. And then as you work, it dissipates. It shrinks. And then it gets all the way down to eventually, I refer to it as being a kitten in a coma in the corner. So it's not gone. It's not gone. Now, it's there. You could still be in a relationship with your twin flame, whatever. But the thing is, it's not going to be totally gone until we reach ascension.
Right.
So there's always a possibility, it can wake up from that coma or something. Right. So, you don't feel it. You don't have the pain. You don't have the obsessive thoughts anymore. You're doing great, but it's not complete. I won't say it's completely gone.
Yeah. Which is why it's the journey, and which is why you have to keep doing the work every single day and making sure that you just keep it under control and in that coma, so it doesn't raise its head again and come back at you as that full-on lion force of tearing everything down again. So it's a process, it's a journey. So the book that you've written, so people are listening and they're like, I think this could be something that I'm struggling with or I've been through and now I just don't know how to move on. So you've written a book, which is on Amazon. So we're going to put all of the links to all of your courses and your books and your programs into the show notes so people can easily find you and get the book. But they could start with the book. They could reach out to you. They could sign up for some of your programs, your courses, one-on-one, whichever way they feel best called to be able to deal with and move through this journey.
Yeah, that's perfect. We offer a free 15-minute clarity consultation, where, one of our clarity coaches will be able to get on and determine if they are, in fact, if they have any,
That's actually quite, I like that, because some people might not know. They might think they are, but, before investing in the courses and the programs, it's good to get that clarity, just to be 100%. I mean, are you ever really 100% sure, but just to have much more clear vision.
There'll be doubt, but, it'll resonate. If you resonate, you resonate. And it's not knowing in your mind. It's not logical. It's nothing. Yeah. It transcends all of that. It's resonance with your soul, and resonance is a remembrance. So that's what I mean when I say resonate, because your soul already knows.
Yes.
Your soul knows all of this. It knows all of the truth. It knows everything that you need to get to ascension,
Absolutely.
But it's just it's really, you're unlearning kind of, you're unlearning what we learned in our minds.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we're moving through the barriers to get to back.
And then when you do come back together, I'm guessing it's just the most magical experience moving forward.
It's very different. There's nothing I can really compare it to, because again, you always have fear-based energy with every single other relationship you've ever had. Where the level of human consciousness is, that's all we can do right now, because we're not ascended yet, right? When we reach ascension, it'll be the same with everything. But so it's completely fearless. So, which means that it's very, I want to describe it as just tender and sweet, almost. There's no rules. There's no, relationship rules. There's no, restrictions, stuff like that. That's all fear-based, and that's all fear.
Yeah.
It's freedom that you both have. Just
that's what we all want, right? That's what everybody's aiming for, is to be in this relationship, to have this partner where it is exactly that. It's beautiful and easy and free, but trusting and graceful and all of those beautiful things. So if that's what you want, and if that's where you're headed, then people should absolutely be reaching out to you to work with you and to get to that space, that time and space. Oh, beautiful. Elle, I'm so thrilled that you took time today to come and explain this in such great detail, and just to give people that, that knowledge as to what it might be if they're finding themselves in such a difficult, dark space. There is something else, a different way, an alternative way of healing that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jessica. This has been awesome. And I do want to say that, yes, there's a whole industry out there of get your ex back. And I really feel that so many of those people are experiencing a twin flame journey, but they just are not aware of it.
Right.
Because this is a very spiritual type thing right now. It's not,
Exactly. And people will say, why would you want to get your ex back when they hurt you so badly? Why would you want to bring that person back into your life? And that's a very valid question. But I suppose if you don't know the mechanics behind the reasons why, and if it really was, then you're not able to make that decision clearly.
Right. And a lot of people will say, because, it's an unhealthy, toxic setup,
yes.
Like a narcissist codependent situation. But I can tell you what these teachings that we teach, we have helped people break that cycle as well. The codependent who comes to us, we've helped numerous ones break the cycle with the narcissist codependent thing, that have reached out to us, and they just have been amazed. So, it all kind of works together. Whether or not you're on the twin flame journey, this stuff will help you.
Right. Exactly.
Because it's really just getting to know yourself and alchemizing your fear-based energy. And everyone's going to have to do it eventually anyway,
Exactly. And we're all living in so much fear right now anyway. Like everything, the world has turned upside down, and everybody is living in fear-based, regardless of, their romantic and relationship situations. So even if you're not, like you say, this is still going to be helpful and beneficial, just in helping you find you.
Exactly. And you're perfect, and you don't need to find anything else.
Exactly that. You don't need somebody else to complete you. You are exactly whole as you are. You just sometimes don't see that. So Elle, thank you so much. Absolutely honored that you would join us today and come talk to us about this. And we'll put all your information in the show notes so people can find you. And thank you again. So excited.
Thank you, Jessica.
You. Take care.
Lots of love.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly hope that you enjoyed the show, and there is at least one thing that you can take away from today's episode that will help you build that sustainable healing toolkit. It would mean the absolute world to me if you would subscribe to the show, give it a 5-star review, and share this or any of the other episodes with somebody that you feel could really benefit by listening. I look forward to seeing you next time.